Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how are you doing? Today we're going to be looking at some interesting maps of the world and relaxing, maybe getting ready for sleep or even falling off to sleep, but in a fun and interesting fact-learning way. Don't worry, I haven't, if you're an avid viewer of this channel, I haven't got rid of the old stick, wooden stick, but I did buy some kebab sticks recently, some metal ones. So in the comment section, let me know, do you prefer the metal or the good old-fashioned wooden stick? I know some of you are quite passionate about the old stick, so I'm not retiring it just yet, at least. So this book we've seen a couple of times on this channel is The Brilliant Maps by Ian Wright, not the footballer, I assume. And I was flicking through it and I saw this double-page spread. I thought that would be a good start, so I decided to even use it for the thumbnail because I thought it was so interesting. So you know how the US is very heavily populated, and Europe less so of the continents. I think Europe is sort of not very high, well, particularly compared to North America and Asia and Africa, it's really not that highly populated at all. But off the top of my head, I think it's about comparable with South America, and would be definitely more than Australasia. So this one is US states, with the asterisk, plus Washington DC, overlaid on areas of Europe with equal populations. And I started obviously by looking at where I'm from. So apparently Utah has the same population as my country of Wales, so that's quite small because Utah I think is massive, isn't it? It must be very sparsely populated because Wales itself is very sparsely populated. We've got about 3.1 million. Maybe it's a tiny bit more, 3.2, 3.3. California, one of the really densely populated states, is most of southern England, including London. London itself is about 10 million. And then I think, so this doesn't include Liverpool, but it might. Manchester's around here, so it does include Birmingham, which is 1 million. Manchester is sort of maybe the third biggest. Down there is quite sparsely populated. Texas is the same as the Netherlands and Belgium combined, or maybe Luxembourg as well. It's Texas, but New York I thought was quite interesting. New York is this area of Germany which is, it might be, I think it's cutting a little bit into the Netherlands possibly. So this area of Europe is the most densely populated part of the entirety of Europe, and it's the Rhineland in Germany, the Rhineland. So you've got your big cities here like Dortmund, Gelsenkirchen, Cologne, Düsseldorf, those sort of ones, Paderborn, all here. So that's the most densely populated one, and that's why New York fits into that one, as New York obviously is the most densely populated city in the US. And then Arizona is bits of Spain, including Valencia, New Jersey, parts of Spain including Barcelona, whereas Massachusetts goes all the way from France down the coastline and into northern Spain and the Basque country, whereas Mississippi is just Galicia, Delaware, the Asturias region. Idaho is simply the same as Sardinia. And then Hawaii is the same as the sort of northern tip of Italy. And I think that might be going into France. I can't remember where France ends. You might have Monaco. Can't think where Nice is on this map. Maybe here, so that's South Carolina. I think Paris is around here, so Pennsylvania encompasses Paris's large population. And what else can we talk about? I think, so Louisiana would have probably Milan, but I think North Carolina, no, that's North Carolina, what's the blue one then? Connecticut, Rhode Island, Indiana, North Carolina, Louisiana, Hawaii, what's the blue one? Interesting. So it doesn't seem to be labelled. Washington is part of France here. Illinois, this region of Germany. And then Switzerland and Austria are sort of cut between Alabama, Connecticut, Rhode Island. South Dakota is just one of the islands, or a couple of the islands of Denmark, and the mainland of Denmark. Denmark's entire population is only about 5 million, but it's split between Nebraska, Maine, and Arkansas. Oh, and West Virginia must be, I can't even see where that is, it's like there. It's really small, basically. And this one, quite emotionally entitled, The Astounding Drop in Global Fertility Rates Between 1970 and 2015. Average number of children born to one woman. So red is 8 to 9. Crikey, I can't even imagine that. No data is grey. And then navy blue is 0 to 1. And so so in 1970, so before I was born, before my sister was born, my parents would have been, I'm trying to think when my sister was born. My parents hadn't even met at that point. Well, my parents like 15 or something. So in the 70s, obviously Greenland 0 to 1, quite a low population anyway. But you have that's Libya. Libya with 8 to 9 children. Turkey quite high, maybe like, I can't quite tell we talked about this before, the colour coding system is a little bit difficult in this book. But China was like maybe 6 to 7 or something like that. Japan 2 to 3. Korea was quite high at the time, it was about 5 to 6, 4 to 5. Australia was a bit lower, 2 to 3. And New Zealand 3 to 4 maybe, it's a bit more than Oz. And Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, all the sort of 6 to 7, as with large swathes of Africa. Sahara, Sub-Saharan, no, this is Saharan Africa, like up to 7 to 8. This is like sort of, I'm trying to think, Mali maybe is around here, Chad. And then 8 to 9, where's that? So he's talking about Libya. I don't know what that country is. There's Ethiopia and Somalia. What's that one? Maybe Uganda? No, I can't even think what that is. And the US was about 2 to 3. The UK the same, 2 to 3. Ireland was slightly higher, 3 to 4. Often related to religion, actually. I think Catholic countries, South America, Ireland, with a higher, and then places like India. India had maybe 5 to 6 children, as do all these countries here, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. But in 2015, they've all just gone dark. Look, they're all 0 to 1, which is very evident in Russia. Russia has a very big problem with a falling population at the moment, as does China, because of the one-child policy that was in place. Korea, where people are just, and Japan, too overworked and don't earn enough money to have kids. Same really in Britain and most of Western Europe. Brazil. This has also got to do as well with living standards. When living standards were poorer, people tended to have more children, or with almost an expectation that they might lose one or two, and they would pass away. But with better healthcare, living standards, quality of water, quality of medical care, medicine, and demands of work, particularly less expectation on particularly women to stay at home in the Western world, meaning that, you know, a career gets in the way as well. People going to university more, and starting families later, or not eventually getting around to starting families. Also, things like how difficult it is to find someone now with all these apps, everyone just wanting to hook up. I'm so relieved that I met my other half 20 years ago, because I couldn't handle any of these apps. I missed them entirely. They scare me. But we're looking at things like a change from Mexico from 6 to 7 down to 2 to 3, as with large swathes of Argentina, Bolivia, Peru. But Brazil itself is down to the 1 to 2, as is Saharan Africa, North Africa, Algeria, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, all down to 2 to 3. And South Africa as well. India, curiously, 2 to 3 now. But yeah, Australia, 1 to 2 still. Oh yeah, a little bit lower. You can see there's a colour differential there. Very interesting. This is median ages. So you can see aging populations. The median age for Canada and most of Western, well actually most of Europe in fact, apart from the Republic of Ireland and Norway. Wonder where that is. And down here Albania, North Macedonia, Kosovo, Turkey, and Moldova and Belarus and Russia. Apart from those countries, we're in our 40s apparently, which is where I am. The others are in their 30s, so Republic of Ireland's got a younger, Norway have younger populations, as is the US, but Mexico is median age due to the amount of children they have compared to adults, obviously. Bringing the median down is they're in their 20s, but the youngest countries in the world are Afghanistan and Sub-Saharan Africa and West Africa. Nigeria, for example, which is having a population boom, they're in their teens. The youngest, it says here, are Niger, which I believe is this country. If that's Nigeria, I think that's Niger. 15.3, 15 years old is the the medium age. Uganda, I can't remember where Uganda is exactly, I think it's over here. 15.7. Mali, is it that one, Mali? 16. Malawi is around here-ish. 16. And Zambia also, I think, around here. 16 as well. The oldest are Japan. Germany, which I knew about as well. Italy. Greece. And Slovenia, apparently. Wow. Now, this is both a good and a bad thing. This is often an indicator, particularly in the case of Germany and Japan, and Italy and Greece and Slovenia, for the second reason that I'm going to mention. This is to do with the fact that people are living longer. Japan has the longest life expectancy of any country, and Germany is, I think, second in the world. And that is due to healthcare, as we talked about earlier, living standards, and also cuisine. In Japan they eat a lot of fish, which is their secret. Not that they eat sushi every day, but they eat a lot of seafood, as do Italy, Greece as well. Germany and Slovenia, I've been to both countries, and they eat a lot of meat, which surprises me. I thought, it'd be more of a fish-heavy. So I was half expecting to see Spain on this list. They must be quite high, and Portugal as well. They have a lot of seafood in their diet. Yeah, I actually have gone into a very high seafood diet at the moment. I didn't eat fish for years. I love it. I don't know why. So I've gone into eating fish like 4 times a week now. It is so good for you, so healthy. Oh, I know all about this one. This is the average female height worldwide. So I saw an infographic. I think I did a video about it maybe a year or 2 ago. The tallest women in the world are in the Netherlands and Bosnia. Now Bosnia's data isn't in this particular study, which is curious. Oh no, hang on. They're the tallest men. That's right. So the Netherlands and Bosnia have the tallest men in the world, but the tallest women are just the Netherlands. So Bosnians, who have pretty good basketball teams, I believe, are joint top with the Dutch, but the women are standalone, the tallest in the world from the Netherlands. They put the UK obviously as one data, which is sort of around here-ish. Maybe between 5'2" and 5'4", that area. But I have to say that Welsh people in particular are quite short. Historically, sort of Welsh people can be very, very short. If you look at our football team, our rugby team, we only have the odd tall player. Majority are quite short. When we play football and we play against teams like the Dutch or the Czechs, the Czechs seem to have a very tall team. Denmark, Sweden and Norway. We're terrible at set pieces and corners, for example. Argentina's got quite a tall population, apparently. As you can see, because of the Hispanic route, most of these countries are of a similar height. Mexico, quite small, possibly to do with the native population, perhaps. Incas and Aztecs, as are Indian people, apparently, and Chinese, North Koreans. Yes, this is an interesting factoid. I've been to South Korea about 4 times, and men there are starting to grow enormous, like they are huge compared to their parents. Men in particular. And apparently it's all to do with the diet again, because prior to or around World War II, there were a lot of issues with food due to things that happened in World War II that I'm not going to talk about in the scope of this video. But there was famine and food shortages, and people just naturally are shorter if they're not given the right vitamins and minerals and fuel they need when they grow, when they're young. So nowadays food is abundant in South Korea, and they have shot up. So actually you can see that Koreans, along with the Japanese, are taller than North Koreans. So obviously that was interesting because they are ethnically the same, but you can see that diet, there's an issue with food in North Korea. Diet does have an issue. Although interestingly, China and India are lower. Thailand is taller than Vietnam. And Malaysia is taller than Indonesia. How interesting. But the Aussies are quite tall. I think that has a lot to do with the immigration that's happened to Australia. There's a lot of Croatians and Serbians in Australia, and there are also a lot of Greek people, and the Greeks on here are apparently quite tall. I think basketball is quite popular in this area of the world. But you can see the Romance people are generally shorter. Romania, Italy, Spain, Portugal. Portugal's a little bit shorter than Spain, apparently. France, however, are a little bit taller, but not as tall, obviously, as the Netherlands, Germany, Poland. The Slavic peoples tend to be quite tall, so Poland being quite tall there, along with Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, does not shock me at all. Apparently Azerbaijan are quite tall compared to Turkey. It's interesting. And Iran are quite short, but not as short as the Indians. Around the same as Saudi Arabians and Egyptians. I would have thought that South Africans would have been taller, actually. But Canadians are taller than Americans, by all accounts. But both are taller than the Mexicans. Oh yes, the Icelandic people are quite tall as well. Okay, let's find maybe one more. I can remember doing some of these in previous videos. Oh wow, this is right up my street. So it's a map talking about football in different languages. This is basically my life. Football versus soccer. So, apologies if I mispronounce any of these words I've not seen before. We can see soccer in the US. This is the big debate in the UK as American English becomes more and more popular. British people lose their mind when people call that game soccer rather than football. So, of course, in the UK, when we speak English, we call it football. We've got the Celtic languages here, so we've got pale droid in Wales. Pale is a football, droid or troid is your foot. Ball foot, we call it. In apparently in Northern Ireland they call it soccer. It's interesting. Soccer in Irish Gaelic, but Bal Kisha, I think it would be pronounced Kisha maybe, in Scots Gaelic. And in the language of Breton, also a Celtic language, it's mel droad, so like pale droid, I guess. Mel must mean ball, and droad is droid foot. Of course, Italy have to be different. They are calcio. And then we've got football for most of them, so Icelandic fotbolti, football. And then in Finland, jalkapallo. In Estonia, jalgpall. Footballs in Latvia and footballas in Lithuania. Then we have le foot or le football in French, football in Spain, football in Portugal, football in Turkey, kadregel in Hebrew, kurat al-qadam in Arabic. I can't yet read Ethiopian, I'm afraid, so I don't know what that says. Football in all these African countries, football in Mozambique, I think, and football in, is that Mozambique and that's Angola. Soccer in these countries here, Namibia for example, and soccer in Afrikaans. On Madagascar it's called Baulina Kitra. Kobada Kakta in Somalia, and Mpira wa Miguu. I think that's Swahili. I think Mpira wa Miguu. I have all of these Indian languages here. It is football in basically most of them. Football. It's a little bit, it shouldn't be written like that. That should be underneath there and there shouldn't be a space, but okay, whatever. That's in Hindi. And then in Farsi it's football. In football as well in, that's in Urdu. Football in these states here, 14-15 football. And in Armenia, can I read Armenian? Football, yes, football in Armenia. Azerbaijan, football. In Netherlands is football with a V. Fußball in Germany. In in Poland it's piłka nożna. Piłka nożna. Football in Czech Republic. Nogomet in Hungary. Nogomet. Football in Serbia, I think that is. And so that means that Bosnia say calcio, do they? Interesting. 11 to football, and in Greece we say podos fero. Podos fero. Podos would be foot, right? Podos fero. Football in Greenland. Soccer in Canada as well. Football in Mexico. Football in... oh, they got it football in Cuba. Football in Suriname. Futebol in Brazil. And football in South America. And then soccer in Australia, soccer in New Zealand, soccer in Papua New Guinea. Football in this country here, I don't know which one that one is. I think that might be New Caledonia or something. Sepak bola in Malaysia and Indonesia. Ooh. So we have three... no, in the Philippines we've got football and soccer. Bóng đá in Vietnamese. 17, I can't read Thai, I'm afraid. So that's not Thai. 18 is Thai. 17 is Cambodia. 19 is Laos, and I can't read that. Tsuchiao in Mandarin. Chukku in Korean, and Saka in Japanese. And let's try this. Gulbenberg in Mongolia. Football in Russia, of course. That was fun. So those in blue are just having other etymologies, so they don't go down the route of either soccer or something to do with a ball and a foot. So the soccers are Canada, USA, South Africa, and a couple of the other countries nearby, like Namibia, Papua New Guinea, Japan, southern Philippines, some of these islands in Oceania, Australia and New Zealand. And then the other etymologies are things like, oh no, hang on, 7 is Nagomet. That's not Nogomet. Oh, Nogo is like foot or leg. So that's in like Slovenia and Croatia, I think. 6 was, oh yes, sorry, Hungarian is Labdarugas, which must be a translation because it's in the yellow, of something to do with foot and ball. Labdarugas, or actually Labdarugash, I think. And so these have got some other root. Chuku, I'm trying to think what that means. Gu is ball, but I can't think what chuk means. Bongda, I think bong is ball. Sepak bola, bola is ball. Curious. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy, then click that like button. Subscribe if you're new here, so you don't miss out on videos like this. If you enjoyed it, there's a playlist, so check that out as well. I've done lots of these videos in the past. And leave a comment if you want to add some facts and figures that you know already, you smart thing. Other than that, a big welcome to all my new Patreons. If you want extra content from me and new videos that get up to a week on Patreon before I release them here, and 2 videos a month that I never release on here, then come and join me on Patreon. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Let me know what you think about the metal. Do we like it or not? Shall I go